Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Raven here. Today we're doing episode 11 of Eric slash Maximilian solo campaign. When last we left off, we passed out in front of the giant rose thorn snake after it killed most of our party members. And we will begin right where we left off. So as we wake up and we come to and we notice all the carnage, we begin to panic and freak out, and we notice the bodies of our friends that are there still lying there, and we can see that Gracia is still breathing because she only took one of the spines to the shoulder, and so we run over to her and we rip off part of our clothes and wrap up her shoulder the best we can, and we pick her up and we whistle to call over our voids, and we put her on top of our vine wraith voids and tell him to put her inside and just don't let her pilot. And so as we put her on top, she gets wrapped around in vines and then wreathed down into the inside of the vine wreath voids. And then we continue, and as we continue for the day, nothing exciting happens. We just go for a bit, and then because we're so exhausted, we decide that after looking around this opening, which there's not much except carnage from all the bodies and the dead snake ripped apart and the snake itself, we decide that we're going to skin some of the snake's meat, and then we're going to start a fire, and we're going to cook the meat, and we're going to eat, and we're going to rest. And after we rest for a little bit, we end up falling asleep, and then we wake up in the morning to Gracia screaming as she sees nothing but darkness and vines wrapped all around her, and as she screams, it jolts our voids awake, who then spits her out of him as she goes flying in the air and looks down screaming. As she comes tumbling down, he shoots his vines up and wraps them around her and grabs her and puts her down safely on the ground. And her screaming wakes us up, and we go off and continue for the day. And as we're walking through the forest on the cold, misty morning, we come around the corner into another mass opening, and in this giant opening we see there is actually a campsite made up, it looks like. And then as we get just a little bit closer, we see that there's a sign that says Academy Camping Area. And so we say, okay, cool. This has gotta be an area for us to be able to rest and hang out while we're doing academy missions in the forest. I wonder if it's in the same spot all the time because of a spell, or if it switches around with the woods. And as we say that, Gracia says, well, my father told me that there are 3 locations in the woods set up by the school that never shift. The woods shift around them. They're the only fixed locations on the map that we can trust. And as she says that, she begins to walk forward to go to the camp area, and we also continue forward going to the camp area. And as we go and walk over to the campsite, we notice that there are 3 other students sitting outside around the fire, and there are a bunch of other students outside their tents. We'll say 3 at each tent, and there's like 5 tents. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and then 16, 17, 18 people in total, plus us, so for 20. And then as we walk up and they all see us, they start to greet us, and as they like put their hands up to say like, hi, how y'all doing, we notice their school academies outfits. We notice that the boys are wearing a white shirt with buttons and a sleek black jacket with a red trim and a black and red tie with the school's magic crest on the tie, and on the over the heart of the vest. And they're wearing nice pants with, it looks like outdoor combat type boots, and they've got belts with their shirts tucked in, and on their belts some of them have like survival belts with, it looks like, pouches with like knives and spoons and paper and stuff like that, and fire starting rocks and that kind of stuff. Some of them have just one belt loop with like a wand in the belt loop, and then the girls are in like long skirts all to the knee that are like a grayish blue with white shirt that is button up, and the black coat with the school sigil over the heart, and then the girls have a purple tie with a black trim with the school's magic crest on the tie. And then they, on their skirts, have built-in like hoops, and theirs are the same. Some of them are like survival, and some of them are just a single slit for your wand to go in. And as we see them and they wave and go to introduce themselves, they notice that we're all bloody and beat up, and they begin to panic and wonder and gasp and gossip about what might have happened. And only the three from the fire run over and try to talk to us, and as they do, they notice that my Vine Wreath Voids is carrying Gracia on its back, and I've got my hand on her back to make sure she don't fall off as we're walking. And as they see the Vine Wreath Voids, they begin to panic and scream, and they all try to pull out their wands. And as they all try to pull out their wands, we look at them and let's see if we can do a persuasion. Let's see. I'll do a contested. Let's see what our persuasion is. Got a +0. Alright, so that's only a 4 against... Oh, he also rolled a 4. Wow, how lucky is that? Okay, so we will redo that. Let's see, we got an 11, and oh wow, the leader of the group for the school, if you can see that, got a natural 20. So sadly, I wasn't expecting this, but as we come into the opening and they notice our Vine Wreath Voids because of the legends that they're taught at school and how these are ancient creatures that were, we don't know this, but they know this. They're ancient creatures used thousands of years ago during the war against demons that the heroes of the Primordial Eye used until the heroes' voids were corrupted and joined the devil, joined the demons, and helped terrorize the kingdoms. No one has seen a voids creature in 2,000 years, and they were thought to be legend. But if one is here, then the kids are afraid that the demons in the far lands have awakened and are once again ready to take over the human kingdom. And as they're all thinking this to themselves, and they all begin to rapidly shoot at us, most of them, all except 3 of the magic blasts miss as they pull out their wands and start firing a burst of magic blasts all in our direction, and they start hitting all around the ground and the trees, breaking off branches, breaking up the ground, throwing dirt up. One of them strikes Gracia right in the same spot that the snake got her, and it blows a chunk of her shoulder off, leaving a massive scar from like halfway from her collarbone all the way to her shoulder on the front side, as it blows and rips apart her clothing, and her skin and blood splatters out onto the side of my face and off to the side of onto the ground. As I look over and go to call her name, as the other two magic blasts hit me, one in the stomach and one in the chest, tearing through my my clothing. And as that happens, you like the wound on my stomach and chest, the skin starts to twist and spiral and like goop back together, and the hole fills as the body regenerates and heals. As I'm looking down, and I look up in anger, and I scream out in rage. You may be students of the school I'm on my way to participate in, but attacking us for no reason will be your death. As the rage begins to fill and my eyes turn black, and the mana within my body amalgamates into darkness and bubbles forth into a crow. And as the crow flies forward, it unleashes in burst of entanglement as the trees from all around here begin to rip up out of the ground. And as they rip up out of the ground, the roots come up and start wrapping around and smashing and crushing the bones of all the children around the tent. And as they scream, and as their bones are being crushed and the blood pours from their mouth from being constricted, the three in front of the fire begin to cry and back away. But before they can back away, the limbs from the branches reach forward and wrap around them. And as it wraps around them, it impales them on the branches as they're squeezed. And then the trees crawl back and revert to how they were, with the bodies still wrapped in the roots, being buried in the ground, and the three other bodies from around the fire still being stuck and pinned up, and now a part of the tree branches themselves. And as this happens, our body goes limp and we fall to the ground before waking up a week later. And we don't know it's been a week, but a week passes. And as we wake up, we smell the rotten sight from this new amalgamation that we've created of twisted branches, roots, and trees, all within this area that used to be a beautiful campsite, now covered in permanent gore. And as we scratch our heads and we look around, we notice that Gracia is gone. And the only one that is next to us is our voids. And as we wonder where she is, but we don't really want to bother with it too much, we decide, and after looking around in the area a little bit and not finding her, we think, alright, well, maybe she continued forward on her own. We don't see her body in all this carnage. We don't remember what happened. And so we are just going to continue on our way. And as we come up and we leave the campsite, as that's when we see Gracia sitting right there outside the campsite with a tent and a little fire of her own. And she says, "Oh, you finally awakened. It's been a week. I couldn't handle the smell anymore. Thanks for saving me, you maniac of a monster." And with that, we will end today's session as we sit down and have breakfast with Gracia before we continue on our way through the woods on now week 2. Thank you all. Give us a like, subscribe, share this so that people can see the adventures and join us for more. Thank you all and have a nice day.